Hello everyone, so this is Joey coming to you from my YouTube channel, which is All the Stars Are Dead. You also find this on the podcast on Spotify, Amazon, and lots of other podcast platforms. So that might be a place you might find me. So just wanted to do another episode, continue the saga of this kind of um, me talking to a microphone, giving updates on things and thoughts on various things that are happening in the world or just basically my thoughts. First thing I wanted to mention is, my daughter just fell asleep, so of course I have time to, you know, record some thoughts here, especially, being a father and working full-time job and all that stuff. Like, it's kind of hard to find time to do kind of creative projects nowadays. So a lot of that's been put on the back burner, and because I feel like when I want to work on something, I have to take some time and do it right. So that's why it usually takes quite a while to be able to just sit down and do the things I need to get done. But here I am, um, starting the process of, recording this kind of podcast. So that's where I wanted to get started with this. And um, obviously, as I mentioned before, should probably already remember this, but based on the title of the podcast itself, the whole like idea behind this is doing like a documentation of my journey to document all the eliminations I get while playing Call of Duty and the zombies game. Just going through all the zombies versions that they released, and every time I get a kill, it's recorded, and then that goes into a spreadsheet. Right now, I have about 2,000. I did some math, and I think it'll be probably about 20 years before I get to a million, probably. But in this case, that's just where I am now, just doing some kind of fun project in this regard. But other thing, my life, as I mentioned earlier, no real changes since the um last update. Just been, watching my daughter grow and experience new things, and um she hasn't started crawling yet, of course, which I think only happens around like 7 or 8 months. um but now, all I'm doing is just trying to be the best dad that I can, just support my family. And um in addition to that, I've not really written any kind of poetry recently. I have been doing that thing where I am like recording songs, rough demos of songs, for that book I wrote, which is the American Poet Elegy for the Light. It's actually the whole lyrics of the book is going to be a musical album, which is going to be about 4 hours. And it doubles as a poetry book as well as like an album. So that's the first time I've really seen anyone do anything like that. So it's why I'm so interested in it. And I feel like a lot of my big problem here is the amount of ambition I have really does drag me down, because I get bogged down in projects that probably honestly will never be finished, even though I'd love to, I think, and try hard as I can to, finish them. Um, Something I really wish is that I just had more time to, sit down and read stuff, but there's so many distractions around, and I think in a way cell phones have been really negative in the sense that they distract you from what you need to be looking at as far as like expanding your mind. A lot of the stuff you read in your phones doesn't really benefit your thinking capacity. No imagination really involved. It's just like a bunch of news articles that I just scroll through on Twitter, mostly religious and political stuff, which obviously is not too helpful for the intellect in most cases. Um, but yeah, again, as I was saying, I do have a lot of ambition, and this ambition that I've had has spilled over into the realm of many times, of course, of me wanting to get involved in cryptocurrency. The thing I find the most appealing about it is, like, if you're involved in cryptocurrency and you have like a mining or a farm that you have, um, the biggest thing is that the biggest benefit is you could be completely financially independent without having to go through any kind of person. You wouldn't have to have any employees, wouldn't have to have any boss to answer to. It's just like you can be completely self-sufficient without even having clients, employees, or authorities over you. And that's hypothetical if like you're able to find a way to make it work, of course. With a caveat that with cryptocurrency, it's a very unstable market in the sense that it's always changing, not only with price, but with the coins that are involved. For example, with Ethereum, that cryptocurrency, it was previously mineable, but they made changes to it. You can no longer mine that stuff. So it's like that happened very recently with something known as the merge, where you can't use a graphics card or any kind of computer at all really to mine Ethereum unless you want to switch to the old fork version, which is Ethereum Classic. Um, but that is nowhere near as profitable as mining Ethereum. I previously had like an RTX 3090 that was basically 24 hours mining Ethereum. Maybe like with in combination with two laptops that I was using, it made me literally like $300 a month on a good month. Just running those three computers, so two laptops, and a RTX 3090. What happened there was I did try to sell the 3090, but I don't think I knew how to like package it properly when trying to sell it. And in combination with the fact that the UPS probably mistreated the package, that graphics card was completely destroyed. So obviously lost a big chunk of money there with trying to sell the hardware and not being able to sell it in that case. Um, but right now what I'm doing is doing this cryptocurrency called Chia, which is like a cryptocurrency that's much more energy efficient, doesn't waste as much energy. Like your electric bill will be much lower if you're farming Chia. And it basically with this one, it uses hard drives. So hard drives, in case anyone doesn't know, are easily accessible with graphics cards, which are what you had to use to mine most of the other currencies. Those graphics cards are very, very hard to find because of how many people are mining cryptocurrency. Like graphics cards to begin with were hard to make to begin with because of the chip shortage, etc. But really, with a hard drive, that's a completely different story. So those are accessible. So and also on top of that, they don't heat up as much, nowhere near as much, and they're not noisy. So like if you wanted to farm Chia, there's a lot of pros not in that regard. I think a big focus on the Chia project, which I don't really honestly care much about, even though because I'm not as educated on the topic, is it like it's supposedly supposed to be better for the environment as far as like global warming or whatever they say. But I've not done much research on that, so I don't have an opinion. Of course, I definitely know we're not supposed to pollute the environment, and a lot of like energy that is used does directly pollute the environment, which displaces habitats and things like that. And that's what I've heard at least. But in that case, but my main focus here is that because with Chia, hard drives are easily buyable. Like you can always upgrade them, even though it's not profitable right now. I make right now like 70 cents a day. If you continue to expand and if the price goes up, that's when you will find a lot of profit from your endeavors with the cryptocurrency. And that's the ultimate goal, just to come off better than where you were before, because at the very least, let's say if the cryptocurrency is not profitable, let's say if you don't profit 100% for the cryptocurrency, as long as you're making back what you originally spent on those hard drives, you're doing nothing but gaining in that situation because you have you got a bunch of cryptocurrency which you can sell for real money, as well as you can sell the hard drives if you want to. So you have to incorporate that into the expenses because like if you're just buying the coin, you just have the coin that you're buying, you just have to hope it goes up in price. But if we're talking specifically about like hardware, you can sell that hardware. It still has value for the most part. Hard drives are a little bit of a sticking point because you don't if someone's with a used hard drive, you don't know what someone's put on that hard drive and which viruses and malware and stuff. But I guess like if it was sent to a third party, you could examine it first, make sure, okay, this is an empty hard drive, it's got nothing on it. Then it's an easy sell, I would say. But you got to be very careful when buying used hard drives or selling used hard drives in that respect. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about in that regard because cryptocurrency has been something that really fascinates me. Um, that something can have value that you can just create with a computer. Um, it's ironically, I've made more money with cryptocurrency just mining and farming than I have really with any kind of creative endeavor that I've done so far. But I do understand that once I have more time to work on creative stuff like music or like poetry or any kind of other novel or book or something like um it will be more successful because right now honestly I have almost no time to put into a creative project in a way that would make it successful. In order to do something like create a successful novel or book, you have to pour a lot of time into that, and I just don't have the existing time right now to do things in that regard. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that, as well as um it's been so long since I've been to a concert. Haven't really had any, desire to listen to like a live music. I know, but in any case, I haven't with music. I haven't really been listening to anything that is new to me. Everything I listen to is basically like old stuff. I'm a huge Beatles fan, and well, not necessarily old stuff, but like stuff that I haven't like the new stuff recently from the past 3 years or so. But um, I think with music, it becomes something somewhat of a motivating force behind not only other kinds of art that you can create, but behind life in general. Like without music, there would be a lot less motivation to do things like physical activity, which is definitely good for the body and helps out the mind as well, and kind of rejuvenates that whole kind of process. And as I said before, I was doing that walking journey where I was tracking the miles I was walking each day and putting that in a spreadsheet. That has stopped a while ago, ever since, my wife arrived in America. But I do want to get back involved in that. Just gotta make myself somehow find time to do that kind of stuff, or because that was a really fun thing to do. I was basically vlogging every time I went out, and I think we're nearing the end of this episode. Just a bunch of random topics that I've been addressing, from cryptocurrency to video games to other kinds of music or poetry or arts and stuff. Nothing really specific so far that I want to, address regarding art. Just in general, the way I've been feeling about like my process of, for the most part, not being able to approach that stuff. But cryptocurrency does really interest me, and um, I hear also regarding the Chia coin that you can, when you do farm the Chia, you have to create these files called plots, which you fill up the hard drives with, and I've heard that there is going to be soon a way that'll be officially supported by the Chia network, which will allow you to compress the plots. So basically have the same amount of hard drive space, but 25% more effective. But that's something I'll have to look into. But I don't really know how to make a computer, so with the Chia, I'm farming off of like a hard drive, and I have like 65 terabytes or so, all farming in that Chia. I want to get to 100. That's my next milestone. Just gotta, when I have the availability to buy the hard drives, and eventually, if the price goes up enough, I'll be in a good kind of, financial position in that regard, at least making back what I paid for the hard drives. But that's all I wanted to say for now. I guess, um, I'm terrified of like being in the financial position where like I don't have any like kind of investments. So like Chia is the only real investment that I have now, besides some other things that don't want to talk about now. But um, yeah, I guess that's it. Life updates, and the zombie kills I have so far are about 2,000. Keep that updated. That's in the spreadsheet that's linked in the podcast description as well as the YouTube description. And everyone have a great day. Thanks for listening. My name was Joey, and signing off here.